Okay, y'all, we back again. Uh, we're gonna try to get part two, uh, dealing with this dispensationalism. It's gonna be a few parts to this, so y'all just gonna have to hold on. But before we get started, as always, we got to give all esteem to the Father, thanking Him for His ultimate love gift, Yahushua Hamashiach, and also thanking Him for the mighty, mighty Ruach, Spirit of Life. We also ask, Father, that you just bless us, watch over us, forgive us for any wrongdoing, any wrong thoughts, any wrong deeds as we get ready to launch this lesson. So last time we was talking about the dispensationalism. We pointed out some of the key people that has carried this foolishness and this devilness um, to the point where we at now. Thank you, Father, for all things. I got to keep saying that because without Him, we have nothing. And we always got to pray in Yahushua's name and say hallelujah, hallelujah. So we're going to keep rolling. Um, so this is part two again of destroying dispensationalism. So and we're going to get into a few things. We're going to, this next couple of series, we're going to break this law down for once and for all so that you won't have no problem understanding it, understanding which laws Paul is talking about. You won't have a problem. You'll be able to break it down to anyone. And so it's going to take a few more classes to get that because I want to be thorough. But again, this is for uh, just people that you might know that need to understand these things because they're being tricked. And see, the other problem that we having is for some reason we keep thinking that we're Americans and we're not. We're not. You have to understand how this country was after the Civil War, how it was reconstructed. Then you have to understand what where Jim Crow came from. Even the Supreme Court doesn't want to recognize you as being a free person. But we under this illusion that we are. But then the Most High keeps trying to show us all the time, right? With all the things that's happening to us. But we still can continue to want to march and all these things like it's gonna make a difference. What? I'm just trying to figure out what will it actually take for us to snap out of this. I just now they got this thing talking about Juneteenth. I mean, and people like all happy and celebrating it. I mean, and this is supposed to represent when you was freed, but you're not free. That's the thing. But every now and then, after they all the killing and everything they do to us, with the food, I mean, all kind of ways, especially spiritually. That's why we doing this. They'll throw you a little something, give you a little holiday, and then the people get all happy and seem like they forget where they're at. Anyway, but let's move on. Let's go to Psalm 74 and 4. I'm sorry, y'all. I had to do this outside because where I'm at right now. So it is what it is. But I just try to keep my mind on Yahuah, no matter what I'm going through. Psalm 74 and verse 4. Thine enemies roar in the midst of thy congregations. They set up their ensigns for signs, right? So we know that the word ensign means their own standards. And that's what's been happening to us. That's been happening to really all of the Western in the Western Hemisphere. You know what I mean? So it's not just us. But the only problem is we won't realize who we really are and why we don't have a choice. Anybody else that they don't if they don't want to be obedient to him, it doesn't matter. But to us, the Negro, the one that they brought from, well, we'll get into that later. Because a lot of us still think we Africans because they brought you from a place in Africa called Negro land. I put it's a brother Ben Yah, Israel. I got it up on the channel. It's in the school section. You need to, if you haven't looked at that, you need to go and look at that. That brother breaks the whole thing down. And this is just the Jews or the Hebrews that was in Spain. He has these old books, and a lot of these books are very, very expensive. And I guess somebody, the Ruach touched somebody's heart, and then all of a sudden, boom. Now, this brother was able to get his hands on some of them because some of these books was like 100 grand a book. And they do this on purpose because for those that read, because I know most of us don't like reading, you're not going to be able to find this stuff out. But you need to understand that because as soon as we can understand who we really are, what our purpose is, then all these things will be over with. But anyway, let's keep moving. I don't want to talk too much. Now, let's look at this here. This is just a statement by an online scholar. And this is what I know that they're used to saying. And eventually we're going to disprove this. He says, when Paul says you are not under law, but under grace, right? Romans 6:14, he has in mind not obedience to the law, but rather condemnation by law. We are not under the law in the sense that we don't stand condemned by any law. Paul shows that those who are in Christ are not under condemnation because they have been set free from the law. Now, the average person that reads that right away in their mind, they're like, see, this right here. Even this guy understands that, but this is the thing. This is one of the first places the dispensationalists would take you as they have been trained to uphold the lie of not being under the law. But notice he never says which law because there are many. So when you say the law, you got to be definitive because you got to tell me what law are you talking about, man. This is the thing. So let's keep going. And then this is another one, right? Ephesians 2:8-9. For by grace are you saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of Elohim, not works that anyone should boast. All right. Now, so I put this here because I know this definitely is talking about these Pharisees. Right? This is but like I said, we're gonna prove this. But the question I always like to ask when people bring this to me, then what is the gift? And then what is faith? I mean, don't tell me that faith, well, I believe. Well, I mean, if you believe something, it's gonna be some action taken. So it's more than just believing, right? Because even the scriptures say that the demons, they believe and they tremble, but they know what's actually going on, and we don't. So now let's look at this next slide. What do these mean? Now, look at all these are 7 laws that Paul uses all the time, and we're going to break these all the way down so that you understand. But the way I have the arrows right here because the law of righteousness, that's done away with. The law of being right, the law of Elohim, of the Father, that's done away with too. Huh? The law of Christ, that's done away as well, right? Love God with all your heart, mind, and soul. Love your neighbor as yourself. That's not good anymore. So again, when people say the law, we have to be able to show and prove to them, or first try to get them to show and prove to you. And 10 to 1, they can't. But what law are you talking about, man? That's the question. Now, in order to do these things, you're gonna have to start buying some of these books. If you don't already have them, you need to start buying them. And I know some people probably have them, but do you actually use them? Right? So for the new student of Torah, or for the new student, or the person that's just coming up here for the first time trying to understand what's going on, you got to be able to use these tools. And we're going to show you why. So the 2 paths. One can ignore the facts and continue to place their belief in those who are supposedly more educated than they are. Go back to how things were as if nothing happened, right? So, we get this all the time. Yeah, right. The law. Okay. Sure, buddy. My pastor said, you hear that I call it the parrot syndrome. Because most of the time, most Christians, they can't really break anything down to you, but they can just give you quotes or sound bites or something that their pastor said or something that they heard somewhere, right? Or this is the main thing that they use right here. They call you a legalist, right? Let's keep rolling. Now, the other path is one takes the uncomfortable path and asks himself or herself hard questions and uses these feelings to motivate themselves to seek the things presented diligently. So here's a young man saying, what if this is right? Now what? My friends, my family, my church, where are my family that died? Grandma, granddad, right? All these questions. Now, again, even the thing about heaven, we're going to break that down in this series and we're going to show you where that came from. Because these are all lies. And the thing about it, I ask people all the time, show me one place in this book that when you die, you go to heaven. Then they'll come up with the rapture. But at the same time, we're going to show you that you're going to have a changed body and you coming back to this earth, right? Because that's where the Mashiach is coming back to. I've even heard people say that you're gonna still be in the air, floating in the air, watching the Mashiach do battle. That's not what the book said. That's not what the book said, right? Because Jerusalem got to be taken. But anyway, we're gonna keep rolling. Now, the choice is yours. 2 Corinthians 5:10. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each one may receive what is due for what he has done in the body, whether it be good or evil. So this is something that we all have to do. It just boils down to what choice you want to make. And if this is the case, then it seems to me like you would kind of really want to do some real diligent investigation to make sure that your belief is right. Let's go to Mark 3:35. I mean, it's a serious thing. Serious thing. And we got so many other things going on in our life, and we're not really paying attention to what's going on. Mark 3:35 says, "For whosoever shall do the will of Yahuah, the same is my brother and my sister and my mother." That's it. That's it. So and just because you're a Hebrew, don't mean nothing. If you're not doing the will, then you're not his brother, sister, or his mother, right? But those that's doing the Father's will, and we're gonna find out what that is. And I mean, you're gonna have to find yourself doing whatever that is. Like I said, we're gonna get to that. All right. So this is the same thing again, right? I just put it on here twice because I wanted y'all to actually think about this. Whoever does Elohim's will is my brother and my sister and my mother. Period. All right. So, and then we know Matthew 7:21. Not everyone who says to me, "Sovereign, sovereign," will enter the kingdom of heaven, but the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. So that's those two statements is kind of big. See, kind of big. Let's keep moving. Now, you must challenge your assumption. This is one of the biggest problems. That's one of the biggest problems that you're gonna have. Because I had to go through the same thing. When brother was trying to teach me about the Ruach or the Holy Spirit, I was like, I mean, everything was good until they got to that. And I was like, man, this brother lost his mind. But I had to fight through my assumptions. I had to go and do my own research. You can't be lazy with this thing. Because again, this is for all the marbles. This is for everything. But one thing about it, we all gonna die. You just don't know when. You gotta make sure that you're straight. All right, let's keep moving. All right, so it says now this is something I wrote. He created light and commanded the sun and the moon to govern it, and both do his will. So we see that the sun and the moon, they do his will because they're obedient to his commands. And both overcome darkness that was never meant to rule, but is a reality. All right, you can go to Exodus 10:21. By learning and walking in his will, which is light, we can overcome and rule darkness in our lives. So let's go look at those. Because again, it don't matter how many parts it takes. I don't care. This is what I have to do. This is the only time I have peace in my life is when I'm doing this. All right. Now, this darkness, I don't know if y'all ever read this before, but when he added the darkness, when he killed Ra, right? He commanded the sun to disappear, right? So, and that was an Egyptian Elohim, which represented Ra, the sun god. Let's see what the scriptures say how it was. And Yahuwah said unto Moshe, stretch out thine hand toward the Shamayim, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt. That's kind of strong right there. You can feel darkness. Let's go to Genesis chapter 1 now. When I first seen that, that kind of blew my mind. I was like, oh, now how can you feel dark? Genesis chapter 1 and verse 16. And Elohim made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also, right? Then we go over to Psalms 8 and 3. Psalms 8 and 3. Come here, Psalms. Psalms 8 and 3. When I consider thy heavens, the work of thy fingers, the moon and the stars which thou hast ordained. Wait a minute. He ordained them? What? Okay. Wow. I'm going to show you in Job where they have an ordinance. So then again, when you start talking about ordinances, what we're going to learn about, I'm going to take y'all all the way from scratch. All the way from scratch so that y'all can understand what this is. So when you read these things, you're going to know exactly what Paul is talking about. Every living thing on the earth, whether plant, fish, or mammal, obeys the will of Elohim. All do exactly as they are created to do. Yahuah has order. All the universe is connected to this divine law of order. The bear hibernates at the precise time appointed. The birds fly south. The salmon crosses the oceans to spawn. The plants die to the world in winter and are resurrected every spring without fail. All things obey, know, and understand the will of the Elohim, and all execute it. And he feeds and cares for each one. So all these things he takes care of, right? We in these scriptures right here, Psalms 104. Let's go there. Got to be obedient. We're going to show you that. Obedience. But obedience to what, Saul? We're going to find out. Psalms 104 and 21. The young lions roar after their prey and seek their meat from Elohim, right? So they know what's going on. They go to him for everything. And once we understand that he's the one that creates everything, he makes the good and the evil. He the ones that open his hands up wide for you to have whatever you got. Because you ain't do it on your own, even though some of us think that. Let's see, Psalms 147. What am I doing? 147 and 9. I had a little blank spot out right there. Come on, man. Turning these pages for years. You're supposed to be able to find this stuff. 147 and 9. He says, he giveth the beast his food, and to the young ravens which cry, right? I mean, this whole thing right here, like I got to keep reading. He delighteth not in the strength of the horse. He taketh not pleasure in the legs of a man. For Yahuah taketh pleasure in them that fear him, and those that hope in his mercy. See? So you got to hope in his mercy, and that's going to be big later on, right? This is the whole thing. But how do you hope in his mercy? You hoping to get mercy, but how? By doing what he's telling you to do. Man, being the crown jewel of his creation, seems to be the only one with the problem of disobedience because he is overcome by his flesh and Hasatan. And he, being out of tune with the light, has been given teachers, the prophets, to guide him back to that light, and so he can be saved from the ignorance of his mind. That's what, again, you got to read the prophets. You can't have half a Bible and understand this thing. Any power or person who elects to keep the people in ignorance is opposed to the Elohim. Now, any power or person who elects to keep the people in ignorance is opposed to the Elohim, is an enemy of the Elohim. After Adam's sin, death and life became the cycle of the earth. And just as darkness was conquered, so must death be also. And there is an essence of man, the breath that he received at birth, which he must cultivate and struggle with all his life to overcome the force of death. But to do so, the flesh must be mastered. If we are captured by the flesh, bone, and blood, the spirit is trapped. And the will of the mind will serve the will and desire of the flesh, and you die when your flesh dies, your flesh and your spirit dies. So people leave your spirit dies. Yeah, it's let me show you what it means by when they say death and die. Let's go to Revelation chapter 20. There's going to be another death. Except you're gonna be alive, but in other words, you ain't gonna make it in the kingdom. Revelation 20 and 14, it says, and death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death, right? And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. Just that simple, right? So you got to overcome. If you can't overcome, this is going to be where you're going to end up at. Because again, we just got done reading that everybody's going to appear before the judgment seat of Christ. You just hope that you got a better hope that you've been doing the Father's will. But if you can master self and can learn that the will of the Elohim is to serve a higher being than the desires of the flesh, then you can conquer the death of the physical, spiritual, right? Both of them. In the universe, we see order, and we cannot get order without obedience to the law. There's no other way about it. So far, we see light and life, we see order and balance, and we see justice. Justice is where all creatures are given a way to justify their existence by being themselves or what they were created to be. The light brings freedom to life. Therefore, the will of Elohim is for all things to have liberty and justify their existence. This is what pleases Yahuah when his creation is obedient to the things he desires to be. Not what we desire to be, not what our pastor told us, but what he desires to be. Remember the parable of the fig tree, right? Luke 13, 6-9. The tree didn't bring forth fruit and was cut down because it didn't justify itself. It didn't fulfill its purpose. Now let us look closely at this light and the will of Yahuah and see if we can get understanding on his divine law, which is his will and truth, and how we must walk to be in harmony with him and all things in his creation. And that's the problem right now. I got a lot of plants out here in my backyard, and it's so many of these plants that have disease now. It's like it's incredible. Everything is sick. Everything is out of order, right? I was watching the show because I like deer meat. And a lot of these deers got these. I mean, they're sick too, so they're getting to the point where you can't even hunt and eat them no more. So, but the book tells us that the earth is going to be rocking to and fro because of wickedness. And then Job told us that this world was given into the hands of the wicked, but soon it's going to be taken back. Right? So let's keep rolling. Now, the hardest prison to escape from is the mind. See, because again, your mind is full of these assumptions. You got to get that out. You got to. I mean, that's if you want salvation. And I'm just talking to people that really, really, really want to get in the kingdom. That's who I'm talking to. Because I mean, a lot of people don't even care about this. But if you up here right now looking at this video, I know that you're trying to find this thing. And these young people out here, they need to see it this way. I'd be glad when I run across somebody that never really picked up a Bible, because I mean, they're easier to help because they have a lot of other things in their mind, but then they haven't been ingrained with this dispensationalism. Because this thing is a hard spirit to kill. Please believe. Now, the same idol under a new name is dispensationalism. Same way the people was worshiping the calf. When you doing these things, when you worshiping the way that your enemies really got you. Because I'm gonna say it like that. Because that's what I mean. When we go to Deuteronomy, it tells us, I think it's 5 or 6 times that he gonna place you among your enemies. So for me, then he also says that one of your greatest enemies is gonna be your neighbor. So I know where I live at, and I know the people I'm around. So I can't blame the white man for everything, because we killing each other too. So in my book, if you don't keep these commandments, I mean, I can't trust. I mean, book says trust no man anyway, but I mean, really, you an enemy to me. So I always got to keep in mind. I got to keep that in mind, and that's what we have to keep in mind. We cannot blend in this country. This is not our home. These people hate us. And until they come in this thing and start keep these commandments, and then their eyes get open, there's no way. In no way can't be trusted. And I don't want nothing to do with nothing. I don't want none of their culture. I don't want anything from them. Nothing. Now, we see these all the time. Come touch the living robe of Yahusha, right? the trickery of Hasatan scribes and your shepherds, because most of them are a traveling man. I can show and prove that too, just by the little hand gestures they do. Because we had this all the way on TD Jakes, he holding up the sign of the compass. Then he putting his hand down here holding his jacket. I mean, all he had to do was put it in his jacket and he'd be just like Napoleon, because that's a Masonic sign. These are Masonic signs. You have to understand that, right? And if you a Mason up here looking at it, say, well, no, man, this brother's wrong. Brother, you don't even know what's going on, because you ain't even at the highest echelon. You at the lower echelon. All you know is what your worshipful master is telling you. Period. Period. And matter of fact, if they don't even want you in there, the sergeant of arms ain't gonna let you through them doors, man. Watch out, man. You don't know who you talking to. Luke chapter 20, verse 45 through 47. I know all about y'all. I know all about y'all. I've done the research, right? Then in the audience of all the people, he said unto his disciples, beware of the scribes which desire to walk in long robes and love greetings in the markets and at the highest seats in the synagogues or the church and the chief rooms at the feast, right? What's this, pastor anniversary day? Which devour widows' houses, because these sisters be all up in the church, paying and giving money and washing dishes and cooking and all this foolishness, which devour widows' houses, and for a show make long prayers, the same shall receive greater damnation. So that's one thing about this book. I don't care what the topic is, what the subject is. You can find out what it is, and you can find out how to rebuke that thing, how to get it away from it. So don't be captivated by these jokers with these long robes and you want to get money like they're getting money. Because, see, I got to tell people all the time, look, man, don't even play with it. If you really want to be rich, do like the rest of them do. Go out in the woods for about 7 days, set up your candles, find out how to do these witchery things, and call on Hasatan. Then after that, y'all do y'all thing, because that's when you're going to find out for sure if you didn't believe he was real, he real. Now, hey, next time we see you, you got some type of special talent, you blowing up. That's what these people do. Please believe that's what they do. That's what you want, then go for it. Yahuah has law in everything. We can't pick and choose what we feel is right and wrong. So what did the Mashiach tell us? Now, people that say they Christian, they read this all the time. But then I'll be saying, what does that mean? Matthew 4:4. And it says, this is what he answered the tempter. And he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yahuah. Wow. Ain't that something? Let's go see if we can find that somewhere else. I think it's in Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 8. Go to Deuteronomy 8 real quick. I gotta find out. See where she got that from. Because he is the one that actually was the one that was talking and gave it, right? Okay. Let's look at this. All the commandments which I command thee this day shall you observe to do, that you may live and multiply and go in and possess the land which Yahuah sware to your father. And thou shalt remember, let's see, all the way which Yahuah thy Elohim led thee these 40 years in the wilderness to humble thee and to prove thee, to know what was in thine heart, whether thou wouldst keep his commandments or no. And he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger, and fed thee with manna which thou knowest not, neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee know that man does not, wait a minute, does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of Yahuah does man live. So, again, that's why they keep you out of the back part of this book. Because, again, you got to understand, there was no New Testament then. There was no Gospels. All they had was these scriptures. And that's what we need if we're going to try to learn how to save ourselves. Just that simple. Boom. And I ain't even put that up on the screen. I just got my Bible marked up with so much stuff. Well, I'm talking about, man, whoever gets this book, boy, they're going to be weird. Let's keep moving. Praise Yah. Now, the law of gestation. I'm going to show you guys. So, because Yahuah was a great mathematician, but at the same time, he has law. It's law in everything. right? Gestation is a noun, the process of carrying or being carried in the womb between conception and birth. There are various periods of gestation, and they are all also commonly a multiple of 7, either of days or weeks. What? With insects, the ova are hatched from 7 half days, and many insects require from 14, 7 times 2 days. The same applies for the larva state with animals. So let's look at this. It's just, I mean, this is just some science, just to show you how he had. I mean, Yahoo is he's in everywhere. 7 times 7, the mouse is 21, 21 days, right? 3 times 7, the hare and the rat, 28. 7 times 4, the cat, 56. 8 times 7, the lion, his gestation 98, right? 14 times 7, the sheep, 147. 21 times 7. And birds, the hen, 21. 7 times 3, the duck, 42. 6 times 7. These are the birth laws Yahuwah set for these creatures. And it was, will, and will always be this way if they are born. So them numbers ain't gonna never change. It's gonna always be that way. That's the way that's the law that he set up for that. And each one of them, when they going through their gestation period, this is how long it's gonna take them, period. Right? The law of the bee found in the number 3. That's, I mean, it's kind of sounds like one of them after school. Remember that? 3 is a magic number. They had 3 in the family. Anyway, uh, in 3 days, the egg of the queen is hatched. It is fed for 9 days, 3 times 3. It reaches maturity in 15 days, 5 times 3. The worker grub reaches maturity in 21 days, 7 times 3, and is at work 3 days after leaving the cell. The drone matures in 24 days, 8 times 3. The bee is composed of 3 sections, head and 2 stomachs. What? The 2 eyes are made up of 3,000 small eyes, like the cells of a comb, having 6 sides, 2 times 3. Underneath the body are 6 wax scales, 2 times 3, with which the comb is made. It has 6 legs, 3 times 2. Each leg is composed of 3 sections. The foot is formed of 3 triangular sections. The antenna consists of 9, 3 times 3 sections. The stinger gas, 9 times, 3 times 3, barbs on each side. Who else but Yahuwah could do this? And it is law. It will never change. It has been and always will remain this way. And there's so many other examples in nature I can give you. But just for the sake of what we're doing right now, I'm just trying to get you to understand that there is law in everything. Now, all things created are in covenant with the Creator. Why? Because this is how they keep living and how they keep doing what they do. See, because he gave them directions on how they were supposed to be made, what the gestation period is, and when they come on the earth, what their purpose is. And they all do it. How do you think the farmer's almanac is always so precise? Because they know the pattern of the moon and the sun, which is in covenant with Yahuwah. It never breaks out their boundaries set for them. We can go to Enoch and show you that. Even the sea has instruction. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 8. You got to understand, man. It's serious. Proverbs chapter 8 and 29. When he gave the sea his decree that the waters should not pass his commandment, when he appointed the foundations of the earth. So when he appointed the foundations of the earth, right, it told us this. And we can go, if we had to, we can go to Enoch chapter 69 and 18. But let's go look at Job chapter 38. I want y'all to see this stuff. Just trying to tell you. Everything. Everything. It's all creation. Except for some reason, it's the man, right? It's the man. Let's see where that is. Let's see. Well, you know what? I'm gonna come back to that. I thought I had that joke mark. Let's see. Did I say 38 and 8? Yeah. We'll come back to that one. But The mathematics of Yahuah are astounding. Therefore, his name is to be esteemed because that is one attribute of his glory, is his name. You can go look at the series I got on the Father's name, but we're going to touch a little bit of that today. When did all this law hating start? Well, a lot of us have heard about Constantine the Great and how all the things he did. And if you don't know who that is, you need to go and learn about this man. You know, you understand what I'm saying? Because you're going to find out about the Council of Nicaea and all these type of things that went on and how they decided to take this out, put this in, keep this secret, and they all arguing over different things. But you need to understand what's going on with that, right? But for this guy, a lot of people don't know about this joker right here, right? Bishop Ignatius of Antioch, right? Now he's one of the first ones that started saying, well, we're gonna read some quotes out of some of the things he was saying. He says, now watch this here, and you can actually see how a lot of people are still have this same mindset. And this is back here in the first century. Well, you're gonna be able to see how these people has the same exact mindset. Same mindset to this day. That's great. What the mosquitoes back here acting crazy. Now, it says your bishop presiding in the place of Elohim. What? Be you united to your bishop. A lot of people got bishops. You know, all these bishops, this bishop explosion that happened a couple of years ago. Now everybody a bishop. Wow. But that's how the people think. They bishop is more stronger than what Elohim said. Well, no, my pastor said, my bishop said. Okay, but what about what the book said? That's the question. Your bishop, I think you happy who are so joined to him, as the church is to Yahushua HaMashiach and Yahushua HaMashiach is to the Father. Let us take heed, therefore, that we not set ourselves against the bishop. What? That we may be subject to Elohim. Oh, so we can't say nothing bad against the bishop. That way we're gonna be subject to Yahuah, which is the biggest lie. Man, we ought to look upon the bishop, even as we would look upon the sovereign himself. Wait a minute now. But people do this. You know, they do this all the time. Wherever the bishop shall appear, there let the multitude of the people also be, even as wherever Yahushua HaMashiach is, there is the Catholic Church. What? Oh, okay. So this picture's starting to get a little bit clearer. Because I can show you a chart right now to show you, I don't care what you call yourself, 10-1, your church came out of the Catholic Church. And if you know anything about history, I always talk about that, Martin Luther. Because they keep saying, well, see, he had reformed. Man, he only reformed that brother was really thinking about, that man was thinking about, was about the money. He was mad about the paying to go to heaven and paying to get out of purgatory. But everything else, he still kept it, right? That's why you go to church on Sunday. That's why you have a Christmas tree up there. I mean, all these things. Wherever the bishop shall appear, right? There let the multitude of people also be. Let's keep moving. Let us learn to live according to the rules of Christianity. Wait a minute now, he didn't say the rules of this Bible. He said the rules of Christianity. And see, when you start going back into and to your history to kind of learn about, because you say you're a Christian, then most people don't even know what that means. You don't even know what they believe. Because I'm finna show you what the Christians believe, right? Not the people according to this book. Let us learn to live according to the rules of Christianity. For whosoever is called by any other name besides this, he is not of Elohim. So they're saying that if you don't call yourself a Christian, then you ain't no way you can be of the Father. Okay. Be not deceived with strange doctrine, nor with old fables which are unprofitable. For if we still live according to the law, we acknowledge that we have not received grace. For the divinest prophets lived according to Yahushua HaMashiach, not the law, which is one of the biggest lies that I've been reading. So it's a bigger lie than the last one. On this account also, they were persecuted. No, that's not why. But again, you don't do no studying, you don't understand what's going on. But if anyone shall preach the Jewish law unto you, hearken not unto him. See how they trick you with that? See, because we're going to show you what the Jewish law is. And the Jewish law has nothing to do with this Torah, with this Bible, not a thing. And no longer observing Sabbaths, but keeping the Lord's Day, which we know is Sunday to them, because this is the rules of Christianity, not the rules of this Bible. If you want to be a Christian, then you have to follow these rules, in which also our life is sprung up by him and through his death. That's the bottom line. That's why you don't keep the Sabbath. That's why you keep the Lord's Day, right? And if somebody asks you, well, every day is a Sabbath day, come on, man, y'all got to do better than that. Now, this is the attack on the Sabbath. The Catholic Church claims, and again, we just breaking down this dispensationalism a little bit at a time. The Catholic Church claims the Pope has power to change times, to abrogate laws, and to dispense with all things, even the precepts of Christ. What? And then Daniel told you that this man was going to come and he was going to change times and laws. It's right there, right? So he's telling you, this is this is who these people. That's why he's called the Holy Father. And they kissed the ring, right? And I don't seen them all go up there. Martin Luther King's daughter, the one used to be a bishop at Eddie Long's church. I seen a picture of her online up in Rome kissing the ring. You got to understand, these people worship this man, and they worship the devils that they worship. Perhaps the boldest thing, the most revolutionary change the church has ever did happen is in the first century. Just told you that. The holy day Sabbath was changed to Sunday. Not from any directions noted in the scriptures, but from the church's sense of its own power. People who think that the scripture should be the sole authority should logically become Seventh-day Adventists and keep Saturday holy. What? Did y'all see? Did y'all read that? Excuse me. And this came from, there's your site right there, St. Catherine's Catholic Church Sentinel. You can go look it up and read the same thing. I don't be trying to give y'all nothing that you can't go behind me and look at. So this is what this man's saying. Look, man, if you're just gonna believe the Bible, then yeah, go ahead and keep the Sabbath. But we Christians, this is not what we do, because our leader says that this is the day he wants you to worship. That's basically what he's saying. So when you get to your church, if you see this right here, IHS, y'all never wondered what that meant? Isis, Horus, and Osiris. These are Elohims of Egypt. And a lot of y'all got this big old cross right there on the pulpit, or this is right in the front on and sometimes they have it draped with purple. That's what that means. Isis, Horus, and Osiris. Like Father, Son, Holy Ghost. The Trinity. That's what it is. Anyway, instead of the Elohim, that's a whole family. This is where this three thing comes from. We're gonna show you that later on. When it comes to the Sabbath day, a lot of people don't understand the importance of this special day. A day that was set apart by the highest Elohim, a day that is so exclusive to him, so precious to him, a day that even he chose to rest on and set apart, right? Make special. How can we ignore this? So it says, remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy, Exodus chapter 20 and 8. So when it said that, it said on the seventh day he rested, right? We can go to Genesis to see that. Rested is H number 7673, Shabbat. The Sheen, Bet, and Tav, right? Shabbat, to cease, to rest from labor. Nifal, to exterminate, to destroy, to remove, to keep or observe, and to celebrate it. That's what we're supposed to be doing. And Shabbat getting ready to come in a few hours. Now, in the Old Testament, the word Sabbath translates all 107 times. The term Sabbath, Sabbath, and Sabbath day occurs 60 times in the New Testament. So I don't know why y'all not looking at this thing. Okay, now watch this here. You have said it is vain to serve Yahuah. And what profit is it that we keep his ordinances, and that we have walked mournfully before Yahuah Elohim of hosts? That's Malachi 3 and 14. An ordinance is H number 8104 and in this setting, and it means observances, right? Observances of feasts and Sabbath. Right? You got your blue letter Bible, you can go to Malachi 3 and 14 in this setting, because sometimes ordinances are going to mean different things as we get into Paul's right, because there's different type of laws. I just can't say you don't have to keep the law. Again, we got to be definitive. When the truth comes, we can't see it because lies have been ingrained in us from birth, right? Now look at this family right here. And you can see that, I mean, this is some old time uh before Jim Crow thing going on, and they happy. They get hey, they doing the same thing that their captors are doing. They got a turkey and all this type of stuff. Now, what are they thankful for? What are they thankful for when they were just, especially back then? And they're gonna start doing that again. They was, I mean, setting you on fire, killing you, pulling you apart with horses, whipping you to death, drowning you. Oh man, I read one thing. When I was doing some research on that Turner. They used to take cats and hold them by the tail, stretch you out, butt naked, and take the cats and swing them. And while they swinging you, the cat is scratching you up. Man, I just, we have been trained not to keep his feast days, which he says are holy, but you will keep Time's holy days, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, Halloween, Valentine's Day, etc. Look at the little girl. And y'all teaching this girl now. Now here it is, she that small, and she thinking about some eggs and coloring them and doing all these little Easter egg hunts. Now, I mean, by the time she get of age, you think she gonna be how she get? She gonna have to really, like the book say, have some full of soap to wash her head out, because she ain't gonna be that. This is the stuff that they do to us, and this is the things that our parents take from them and put on us. Let's see what the wisdom of Solomon says, chapter 14. We're gonna start at verse 22. Moreover, this was not enough for them, that they erred in the knowledge of Yahuah, but whereas they lived in the great war of ignorance, those so great plagues called they peace. For while they slew their children in sacrifices, because that's what you're doing when you got them doing this, you ain't putting a knife to them, but this is a way that you slaying them in sacrifices, because you got them doing these things to these other Elohim. You can't tell me that this man ain't an Elohim. He's a god to people. And this picture with Bourget's lover or whatever, same thing. The Mashiach didn't look nothing like this. I'm sorry, not at all. Right, and then worshiping monsters and all this type of stuff. So that's what that's what the scriptures is saying. That's what you basically doing, right? Or use secret ceremonies or made revelings of strange rites, right? Because when you get on your knees, get that present up under that tree. He told you do not go out and set up a tree, right? But what do? You don't go to the woods, but the woodsman, they already growing for you. He cuts it down and you pick it up, put it on your car, and bring it home. That's a secret rite, whether you know it or not. They kept neither lives nor marriage any longer undefiled. Either one slew another traitorously or grieved him by adultery, so that there reigned in all men without exception blood, manslaughter, theft, and dissimulation, corruption, unfaithfulness, talmuds, perjury, disquieting of good men. You can't go up in one of these places talking about keeping the commandments. They're going to put you out of there. Forgetfulness of good terms, defiling of soul, changing of kind, disorder in marriages, adultery, and shameless uncleanliness. Because when y'all go to after you get out of church, the first thing y'all do, go get them shrimps and them lobsters and them crabs. That's shameless uncleanliness. For the worshiping of idols not to be named in the beginning, the cause and the end of all evil. But either they are mad when they be married, or prophesy lies, or live unjustly, or else lightly forswear themselves. For inasmuch as they trust in these idols, which have no life, though they swear falsely, yet they look not to be hurt. So they don't think nothing gonna happen to them. They don't think I'm under grace. I can do all these things. Ain't nothing gonna happen to me. Right? Howbeit, for both causes shall they be justly punished, both because they thought not well of Yahuah, giving heed unto idols, and also unjustly swore in deceit, despising holiness. Right? Because holiness is being set apart. And we just got done showing you that the Sabbath day is a day that's supposed to be set apart. But you despise that. You don't want to do that. Right? Oh man, you trying to make me a slave. Let's look at this word right here. It's Jesus. That's why you never hear me saying it. Once I learned this, and once I learned what this really meant, that was it for me. The word Jesus, right, is a product, and I said at that time, is a product, or some people say the J man, is a product of long transliteration process. Boy, they got to go through a whole lot just to make this to stand up. First, we started with the original Hebrew, Yehoshua, likened to Joshua, because if you go and do some research, you'll see that Joshua should have had the name of the creator, or the name of the creator, the Messiah, His name was likened to Joshua. Some would say Yahusha, right? Second, Yehoshua was shortened to Yeshua, just like Mike is a short version of Michael. Third, Yeshua was translated into Greek. Fourth, Yeshua was translated into Latin. Finally, Yeshua was translated into English, which is where we get this J-man thing from. So you had to go through all this just to make this name, right? So Yeshua, not Yeshua, in Greek, I-E sounds like ye. So in other words, when you see that I-E, it's Yeshua, right? Greek didn't have a letter for iron, right? Iesu, Greek also didn't have letter for Hebrew shin. Iesus, the S was added because the Greek name normally ends in S. And Iesus, right? Or Jesus, the King James translator decided to drop the O from Iesus. So this is what they decided to do. And the translators, I mean, this is all the stuff they did to the name of Yahusha, right? Because he's telling you, some will say, right, Yahusha. You'll hear Brother Saul say that all the time, or some gonna say Yeshua. Either way, either one of these, ain't nothing wrong with it. But guess what? You had to come all the way from the Hebrew, Greek, Latin, and then English, and then do all these, take letters out and all this just to be able to say this name right here. And then you're gonna stand up and deceive the people and tell them there's no other name by which a man can be saved. Man, are you joking? This is why you won't hear this name up here. So, Iesus, modern English, replaced the I with the letter J. This name, Iesus, has no meaning. It was transliterated to try to fit into English. Remember, words transliterated with J-E, right, equal a compound. And the Zeus is glory to Zeus, which all Greek boys' names ended with to pay homage to the hero Elohim, who is Zeus, father of all these Nephilim Elohim. And that's exactly what this is. And this is what they did to take this here. So when you saying you calling on this name here, you basically calling on this name. Because look at it. It's almost even the same anyway. If I got rid of the S right here, come on, man. Y'all got to see this stuff. Now let's keep going. Now, when did they start to pollute this name? Genesis 44 and 26 says, let's go there. Trying to show you how they've been doing this. 4 and 26. It says, and to Seth, to him also where there was born a son, and he called his name Enos. Then men began to call upon the name of Yahuah. Now that's what it says. But if we didn't have our blue letter Bible, which I have right here, I actually I screenshotted it up here to make it real easy so we ain't got to jump around and everything on this class this time. Basically, this is what it comes from the Hebrew word kalah, right? Now let's look at this thing. It's a verb, right? I can compare it to 20 H2 470, right? It means to profane, to defile, pollute, desecrate, to profane oneself, defile oneself, right? Ritually, sexually, to be polluted, to be defiled, right? To profane, make common, pollute, to violate the honor of dishonor, to violate a covenant, to treat as common. That's why we name that class the covenant name of the Father. So if you in covenant with somebody, you gonna talk to them like you their friend. You're gonna talk to them like you love them. Not you ain't gonna call them by some other strange name. But this is when they started doing this. Way back in Genesis, they started doing this. So this is not a new thing. Not at all. And now I want y'all to pay close attention to this. I found this on now this is a Watchtower online dictionary. This is Jehovah Witness dictionary for y'all Jehovah Witnesses out there. Now this is what they said. And again, this is the Watchtower online dictionary. You see they got the little castle there showing you where they're the queen or their king or whoever it is. And that's another thing about them too. They got that heaven thing, but no, I'm sorry. I almost made a mistake. They believe that the elders are going to heaven and all the little lay people is going to be here, the kingdom on earth. That's their belief. Just to throw something out there for you. Early in the second century, you can't find that nowhere in the King James Version Bible. Now, the Bible that they cooked up, because they got their own Bible, it's probably in there. But I got one in the house because I should look through that stuff too. Early in the second century, after the last of the apostles had died. Now, you see, in the second century, we just got done looking at the first century, what was going on. Now, here's the second. Now, they don't wait until the apostles died, falling away from Christian faith, foretold by Yahushua and his followers, began in earnest. Pagan philosophies and doctrine infiltrated the congregation. That's the first scripture we read about the enemies of Yah in the midst of the congregation. Sex and division arose, right? And the original purity of the faith was corrupted, and Elohim's name ceased to be used. As the apostate Christianity spread, the need arose to translate the Bible from its original Hebrew and Greek into other languages. Now, I don't know where they're coming up with this original Greek, because I got some manuscripts of the new covenant or the New Testament. It's Hebrew because they was all Hebrew. They was translated into the Greek, right? So that's another lie right there. How did the translators render Elohim's name in the translation? Usually they use the equivalent of Lord. A very influential version of that time was the Latin Vulgate, a translation of the Bible by Jerome into everyday Latin. You need to find out about this guy, Jerome. Jerome rendered the tetragrammation, Yad He Vav He, by submitting Dominus or the word Lord. Eventually, new languages such as French, English, and Spanish began to emerge in Europe. However, the Catholic Church discouraged the translating of the Bible into the new language. Thus, while Jews using the Bible in the original Hebrew language refused to pronounce God's name when they saw it, most Christians heard the Bible read in Latin translations that did not use the name. And now, yes, very important to understand that about us, right? In time, uh, Elohim's name came back to use. In 1278, it appeared in the Latin in the work of Pugio Fidel, or he called himself the Dagger of Faith, by Raimundus Martini, a Spanish monk. Raimundus Martini used the spelling Yahuah. There it is right here, Yahuah. And we're going to show you about these letters. Soon after, in 1303, Porticus Salvaticus completed a work entitled Victoria Pachetti versus Impious Hebrews, right? Uh, Victory against the ungodly Hebrews. So see, they've been trying to take this stuff out of the Hebrews' hands from way, way back. But this is on their own site. So they tell on their own site, they're telling you what the name was, Yahuah. But here, I mean, that's what that's how they have it written down. And mentioned in Elohim Spain, there it is variously Ehoah, Ehua, and Ihoah. Then in 1518, right? The same cat concerning secrets of the universal truth, in which he spelled the name of Ehua. See, it's slowly changing, because remember the I was changing to a J, because so they're trying to get to Jehovah, because the U is nothing but a W. That's a double U. Like I said, we're gonna get that. The name first appeared in the English Bible in 1530 when William Tinsdale, another guy you got to do some research on, published a translation of first five books of the Bible. In this, he included the name of Elohim, usually spelled Yahuah, see, or Jehovah. That's basically what it's saying. Because again, I'm going to show you how they did this in several verses. So this is when it came. Now watch this. Moreover, as oft as thou seest the word Lord in great letters, except there be any error in the printing, it is Hebrew Yehovah. From this practice arose a using Jehovah's name in just a few verses. So this is what I'm saying, or Lord or God. This is what I'm saying. Now up here, you're seeing how it's changing from way back from 1278 to now in 1530. This is how they put it. And they know this, but they still got their people talking about some Jehovah. And saying this here, look, the divine name. How is this a divine? How is it a divine name? This is the stuff I like to show y'all up here. Hebrew is this is the Hebrew letter Vav. This is it right here. Has a sound of U, right? Which later on became like this here, U. Later, loosening the lower stem, it became the Latin letter shape for V. So when we come back here, I just got them telling you that's what they did. See, this is how they end up making it Jehovah. I'm telling you, man, it's all here. By the 13th century, two of these occurring next to one another began to be called W. So now we have the shape W and the new sound. The familiar English letters U, V, and W occur next to one another in the alphabet, right? Which they took from the Hebrew, right? The alphabet, since they developed over time, but this knowledge is not widely known today. Flavius Josephus, Yusuf ben Mattanyahu, what? Yahoo, see that? Yahuah's name, I'm gonna show you that too, is on, that's what said the name of Yahuah was written in 4 vowels on the headpiece of the high priest, Yad, Hey, Vav, Hey. He lived during the 1st century and was 800 years earlier than the Masoretic vowel points. The Masoretic vowel points were invented to steer the reader away from the true pronunciation of the name. So when you look at Hebrew, and that's why we use the paleo and the ancient around here, because when you go to that modern, they got these little dots and vowel points. Not only was it meant to keep you away from being able to say the name, because these Jewish people don't want you to be able to say it, right? It also made it so that they could actually learn the language, because they are not the true people, never have been. So this is what it's saying right here. The plan affected other words, so now there are many corruptions inherited from the influence of the Masoretes. That's why my man says over here, letter W, typesetter invented in the 1400s. Old Latin shape for you. Never underestimate the sneakiness, baby, because they sneaky. But you got a good brother like me. I like to dig this stuff out and share it with you. Now, what you do with it, that's up to you. Jehovah, as it was transliterated, occurs 188 times. Now, this is what they're saying here. Now, this is on the online encyclopedia. Jehovah, the causative form, the imperfect state of the Hebrew. What? They're telling you it's an imperfect state of Hebrew. I mean, they're telling you this. It's imperfect. Verb, hawa, become, or haya. We're going to show you that. He causes to become. Now, the Aramaic English New Testament, 3rd edition by Andrew Gabriel Ross, 2008, says in this verse, your master Yahuah know that which is in the hearts of all. The footnote on this verse says the early Talmudim called on the name of Yahuah in prayer. However, this was obscured when generic Greek terms were implemented to replace the personal and covenant name of Yahuah. This was done in violation of the commandments. Of course it was. Do not add to nor take away from the word Devarim or Deuteronomy 4 and 2, and do not take the name of Yahuah in vain. We're going to see that in Shemot. Now, but this is what they also turn around and say. For y'all Jehovah Witnesses out there. But does not the Bible place emphasis on salvation of creatures? That's what the man asking one of the elders. He said, do we not read time and again about what we must believe and do if we would be saved? True. This is him responding, true. But this is what he said. God's word also shows that the honoring of Jehovah's name and its vindication, which involves also the triumph of righteousness, is far greater importance than salvation of creatures merely incidental thereunto. What? That's why they feed you this garbage, because you got to see on who they really serving. They don't care if you get salvation or not. That's why then they tell you the elders are going to the heavens, and well, the layman, you'll be on the earth doing the work. Who knows whatever craziness they come up with. The covenant name of Elohim was usually translated from the Hebrew as Lord or God, using capital letters as shown. In the King James Old Testament, the tradition is maintained. That's why when you turn your book, what do you see? Lord and God. In the present edition, the name is so capitalized wherever the covenant name is quoted in the New Testament from a passage in the Old Testament. I told y'all that. You go to the covenant name, you learn all that. So to transliterate, right? Now this is what it means. It means to write or print a letter or word using the closest corresponding letters of a different alphabet or script. All right. Now let's look at this. Now let's entry number 4: interpret, render, gloss, put, express, convert, change. Now, so it's a verb to change something into a different form or properties. Transmute, transform, to cause to adopt a different religion, political doctrine, opinion, etc. to convert the heathen, to turn to another of a particular use or purpose, divert from the original or intended use. They converted the study into it. So this is what he's trying to tell you. This is why they did this, because they're trying to take you away from the doctrine of the Most High, which is his commandments and law in this book, and give you Christianity, which is a whole nother thing. And now you adopted that. And you don't convert it because they look at you like heathens. I had to put this in here. I'm sorry, but I had to do this. Now, transliteration in action. This is how they did it. Yod, hey, vav, hey. So here's the yod, which is a y, right? And what did they do? They converted that into a j. But we know that the letter j did not exist 409 years ago. And then you have the u, right? Remember the w, vav, right? Between the 13th and 14th century. And this is how they came up with Jehovah. It's all simple, man. It's all simple. Let's go to the book of Malachi. This thing is not, I mean, if you just take the time, you can see exactly what I'm saying right now. Let's go ahead and read this because I'm almost running out of time. Malachi chapter 2, verse 1 through 7. And now, you priests, this commandment is for you. If you would not hear and if you would not lay it to heart to give glory unto my name, says Yahuah of hosts, I will even send a curse upon you. I will curse your blessing. Yeah, I have cursed them already because you do not lay it to heart. Behold, I will corrupt your seed and spread dung upon your faces. Now, it sounds like he's kind of mad for somebody to say that they're going to do something to you. Then they're going to take cow manure, horse manure, and spread it and put it in your face. Even the dung of your solemn feast, and one shall take you away with it. You shall know that I have sent this commandment unto you, that my covenant might be with Levi, says Yahuah of hosts. My covenant was with him of life and peace, and I gave them to him for a fear wherewith he feared me, and was afraid before my name. The law of truth was in his mouth. The law of truth? Wait a minute, truth is the law? And iniquity was not found in his lips. He walked with me in peace and in equity, and did turn many from iniquity, and from not keeping the law of truth. For the priest's lips should keep knowledge, and they should seek the law at his mouth. For he is the messenger of Yahuah Elohim, Yahuah of Sabaoth. But you are departed out of the way. You have caused many to stumble at the law. You have corrupted the covenant of Levi, says Yahuah of the Sabaoths. Therefore have I also made you contemptible and base before all people. So this is part of the black man's problem here in America. It's just that simple. According as you have not kept my ways, but have been partial in my law. Right? So some of the things you do and some of the things you don't. I believe on Christ, but I don't have to do none of these other things. That's partial in law. Have we not all one Father? Have not one Elohim created it? Why do we deal treacherously every man against his brother by profaning the covenant of our Father? What was the covenant? It's the 10 Commandments. Judah has dealt treacherously, and abomination is committed in Israel and in Jerusalem. For Judah have profaned the holiness of Yahuah, which he loved, and have married the daughter of a strange God. That's why you calling on him. You invoking the J man every time you say his name, whether you know it or not. It's a strange God because you cannot find that in the original manuscripts. And Yahuah will cut off the man that does this, the master of and the scholar, out of the tabernacles of Jacob, and him that offer an offering unto Yahuah of hosts. And this have you done again, covering the altar of Yahuah with tears and weeping, and with crying out, insomuch that he regarded not the offering any more, or receiveth it with goodwill at your hand. Yet you say, wherefore? Because Yahuah have been witness between thee and thy wife of thy youth, against whom thou hast dealt treacherously, yet she thy companion and thy wife of thy covenant, right? And did he not make one? So we can keep going, but the whole point is this covenant and his law. See, those two different things right there too. And we're going to show you that. The 10 Commandments is a covenant. It was so powerful that they had to get put inside the ark. But y'all keep saying, we don't understand that. Okay. Now, this transliterations. So 6,823 times they took out the name of Yahuah and they added the Lord or Lord God. That many times. And then this how many times there are 216 times they did the same thing to the name of Yahusha, right? And then You had Yahushua, which all it is just an added verb. That's all it is. But that's a whole nother thing. This is for people that don't really understand these things yet. But it's a transliteration of the name. Who has gone up in the heavens and come down? Who has gathered the wind in his fist? Who has bound the waters in a garment? Who has established all the ends of the earth? What is his name? And what is his son's name? If you know it, it sure ain't what we've been taught. Now, you'll see sometimes you're going to see Yehoshua, right? You'll see this here. And it's just the same thing. They just added the verb. So same information. And in the Ethiopian Coptic, you'll hear it'll say Isha, right? And that's how the Ethiopian Coptic church, that's what they say, which just means husband. But if you take Yahuah plus Yasha, right? Remember, Yah saves. That's what Shah means. You get Yahusha. Yahuah, Yahweh. Sometimes you'll hear say that. The difference is pronounced the verb as you or Y as I. It's the same thing. It's just how people pronounce these different Hebrew letters. And sometimes you got Hebrews arguing over this stuff. And I'm like, man, y'all crazy. Yahweh, this is the ancient way of saying the name, according to scholars. Now, I'm not saying that it's exact. They say that Yahuah is from the modern Assyrian, or from when they had when they was in Assyrian captivity. I'm still looking at that. But I know here when it says Strong's 1961, it says when it means to be. You'll hear like a lot of these young Hebrew rappers using that. They'll say ahaya, right, or haya, which means to be. But then what they did is they took the sound of the Hebrew letter of the father aleph, and they added which is aleph, to haya. So you'll hear them say ahaya. You hear them say that all the time. I'm just showing you how they came up with this, right? I am that I am. If you go look that scripture up, say I am that I am, it's going to tell you haya, or from the root hava, right? So it's just all here. So sometimes you're going to see them say these things, right? Now, Yah in the English, Jah, so there you hear the Rastafarians saying Jah. But remember, there was no J 409 years ago. So it would be Yah. The sacred name compared names and Isaiah, Jeremiah. It's the same thing. Same thing. Since our English language has its origins from the Indo-European influence, our understanding of the meaning of the word for God from the biblical Hebrew and Greek languages is obviously different. I got this information out of the book of the deities and demons. Real good book. I mean, they got so much information. You want to look up different things about different Elohim, it's gonna break it down. But the prophet which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other God, even that prophet shall die. You got to be careful. The earliest written form of the Germanic word God comes from the 6th century Christian Codex Argentinius. The English word itself is derived from the Proto-Germanic Guden. Most linguists agree that the reconstruction Proto-Indo-European form Gutam was based on the root bua, which meant either to call or to invoke. So when you calling on these other names, you invoking another Elohim. The word God is relatively new European invention, which was never used in any of the ancient Judeo, I don't know why they had Christian on here, scriptures, manuscripts that were written in Hebrew, Aramaic, Greek, and Latin. So it's an invented thing, y'all. And then people say, well, man, you know what? I don't care about that, Saul, because see, I'm in America and I speak English. Okay, but what is according to this is Wikipedia, and you can find it in other places. And this is what it says, because I remember back in the 80s, you was Afro-Asiatic. Remember all that? In addition to languages spoken today, Afro-Asiatic includes several important ancient languages, such as ancient Egyptians. Why when you see, you look at them hieroglyphs that they over there trying to put acid on and make them lighter, you understand. That's why you look like these Africans, but you're not. Which form a distinct branch of the family, and Akkadian, which is who? Akkadian, now get out of here. Akkadian is nothing but Ethiopian. That's all that is. Biblical Hebrew and Old Aramaic, all of which are from the Semitic branch. You don't see nothing about no Jewish stuff in here, You don't see nothing about no Khazarians in here. You don't see nothing about no Germans and no Russians, because they are not Semitic, but they got you thinking that they're Semitic, but you the one that's Semitic. Linguistic classification, one of the world's primary languages, proto-language, Proto-Afro-Asiatic. So that's what you are, and this is your language, not this. But some of y'all just want to be that, and I understand it, so just keep being it. Now, Hail Lucifer, Father of Christ. I can show you, I'm going to put a video up here on one day when they actually singing this stuff in church. Then you see these guys with this symbol around here. See, what they try to tell you is, well, the compass is all this other foolishness, but the G means God. That's what they say. But when you really look at it and you get the understanding of it, this is actually a man standing over the top of a woman, but getting ready to perform sex magic. This is what this symbol is period. Period. So all y'all got this ring on running around. Oh, that ain't with that brother crazy. No, I ain't crazy. I know what I'm talking about. Remember this, that the enemy has reproached, oh Yah, and that the foolish people has blasphemed thy name. Uh-oh, he's gonna start getting to the point where he's gonna start threatening you now. Reproach, a primitive root to pull off, that is by implication, to expose as by stripping, specifically to betroth as if a surrender, figuratively to carpet. This is defame, right? It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Denominatively, to spend the winter, betroth, blaspheme, defy, jeopard, rail, reproach, unbride. This is what they set out to do, and they got you doing it too. Blaspheme, speak irreverently about Elohim or sacred things. He has blasphemed against Yahuah. Right? So let's go to Exodus chapter 20. Exodus chapter 20 and 7 says, sanctify yourself therefore and be holy, for I am Yahuah your Elohim, and you shall keep my statutes and do them. I am Yahuah which sanctify you. All right? All right. So let's see. And in vain, he's gonna say, see, and this I can keep going here, say in vain they worship me, right? And this is what we do a lot. But when you look at that word vain, it means to shav, right? 7723. It's lies and vanity. Lies and vanity. This is what they use, right? And he says, I won't hold it. He's not going to hold them guiltless, right? Who do these things. It means unpunished, blameless, innocent. By no means he ain't going to quit you for not using his name correctly. Just that simple. Let me get over there. I was tripping. I'm in the wrong place. But it's starting to get good to me. Exodus chapter 20. Yeah, let me get it right. I gotta make sure I do this across every eye and every cheek. I said, wait a minute, something ain't right. Here we go. Thou shalt not take the name of Yahuah and Elohim in vain, right? With lies and vanity, right? Saying that you serving him, but you don't even call him by his name. How are you serving him? You serving another person or another Elohim because you're using that name. Of Yahuah will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. So he's not going to hold you guiltless for using his name and for taking his name in vain. And people say, well, yeah, you say God, what up? That's just God. It's a title. It's not his name. It's a title. So he ain't gonna leave you unpunished for this. So because what are they doing? They're trying to destroy his reputation. All right, a reputation, overall quality of character as seen or judged by people in general. Right? Recognition by other people of some characteristic or ability by the repetition of being clever, right? But then let's look at this here. A good name, reputation, dignity, honor is in a good name. And y'all taking, this is what y'all doing when y'all giving all this thing, all this glory and everything to these other elves. That's what you're doing, right? Dignity, formal reserve of seriousness, of manner, appearance, of language, the quality of state of being worthy, honored, or esteemed. If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear the glorious and fearful name, Yahuah thy Elohim. This is what you're doing, y'all. This is what you're doing. You're taking away the honor, a good name of public, right? Showing of usually merited, pay honor to our founder, right? A person of superior standing, respect or fame, because he have set his love upon me. Therefore, I will deliver him. I will set him on high because he have known my name. why I say it's very important to understand this. The Encyclopedia Judica. Now they got to watch these guys too, because remember, in the Jehovah Witness Encyclopedia, it told you why some of these Jewish people was doing this, because they took over everything too. Why they was putting this YH this now. Let me watch this here. The true pronunciation of the name Yad-He-Vav-He was never lost. Several Greek writers of the Christian church testify that the name was pronounced. See, they go a lie right here. It's saying it was Yahweh. You got cats running around using this name. Nope. The other ones, Yahuah, I can get with that. Even Ahaya, I don't have no problem. This is confirmed at least for the vowel of the first syllable of the name by the shorter form Yah, which is sometimes used in poetry, and the Yahu or Yah that serves as the final symbol in very many Hebrew names. We just got done telling you that with Jeremiah, right? And Isaiah. Yahweh was the name of the Edomites and Khazarian Jews chose to use instead of the set-apart name, saying it was too holy. But according to Scripture, the Father wants us to know and understand all the heavenly names. When the King James Version of the Bible was written, 1611, the translator used the words common to European people. Instead of translating a word properly by using a Hebrew or Greek meaning, the translator replaced the true meaning of the Scripture's word with words common to their London English vernacular. For example, we will first examine the words Lord by providing the true meaning of the use of these words. It is easy to see how the early Bible translators were in error. Lord, God equals Jehovah or Yahweh. See, in Hebrew, it's Yad-He-Vav-He, third person singular noun from the root word, right? Iye, meaning literally self-existent. This is used as a proper name of God. It should have been translated that form by the translators, right? Now watch this here. But the Lord Yahweh should read in King James other version as He is. So instead of putting this in there, they should have put in there. The man is saying they should have put in there He is. But this is who the Lord is, Master, Lord, Baal. Apply only to heathen deities or to the man as husband and so on, or to be one especially skilled in the trade or profession. You got to see who Baal is. I'm going to show you who Baal is. We're almost done with this section. And in all things that I have said unto you, be circumspect. What? So that word circumspect is Hebrew number 8104, the Hebrew word Shema. Keep, observe, beware. So I can say in all things that I have said unto you, beware. Make no mention of the name of other Elohim, neither let it be heard out of your mouth. Now, you do what you want with it. Now let's look at this here. This is a Hebrew word 3050. And we're going to break down which just gives you the word Yah, right? And contraction from H 3068 meaning the same, right? Now, let's see how from Jah, they gave you Jehovah in the shorted form, right? 1A, the proper name of the one true God, right? Used in many compounds. Names beginning with the letters J-E, names ending with I-A or J-A-H. So when you see this J-E thing, you know that's a compound. It ain't even supposed to be there. It's not true. Or when you see at the end of these, when it says Isaiah instead of Isaiah, it's basically what he's telling you. These are compound words. These are the added words. They contracted. All right, now watch this. Contracted from 3068, meaning the same Yah, the sacred name, Yah, right? The Lord most vehement. See, now they threw that in there too, but it's still Yah. It's that the name is Yah, period. It's there. Yah, Yahuah, Yahweh. You can't get away from it. But this this J-E and I-A-H, those are compound words. So you can't say Jehovah because it's a compound word. We've been showing you this. Now, this is the whole problem. Pronounced God, or God, and written as Gad, right? And the mark, strongest also concordant, 1408, a Babylonian deity of fortune. So when you say God, you're going to say, well, God said, no, wait a minute, hold on. Okay, so you calling on a Babylonian deity of fortune. You're not calling on the Father. I'm sorry, y'all. It just is what it is. So when you say God and Lord and all this, this is who you invoking. All right? Now watch this right here. Yashayahu, right? Which is Isaiah, because there's a compound, but this is what it really should be. This is what his name should really be. Yahu. I am Yahuah. That is my name. And my esteem, right? Or his honor, right? All these things we just got done breaking down, I do not give to another, nor my praise to idols. So you got to be careful when you're using these words now. I'm telling you what it is. You do what you want with it. The other one is Baal, right? The Lord. But when you say the Lord, this is who you calling on. You calling on Baal. You invoking Baal, period. And when you see the cross in Christianity, Western world America, Baal. Snakes, ancient Babylon, Baal. Moon, or the sun god Ra from Egypt, Africa, right? Baal and the Baphomet. Moon and star of Islam. Again, you dealing with the Baphomet. I mean, it's just, I'm sorry, Nation of Islam, but that ring y'all be having on with the star and the moon, this is what this stuff represents. And to go and show you how serious this is, here in London, Baal worship in our time today is in plain view. This is the gate of Baal. That's supposed to be that they're supposed to be able to transport to the fifth dimension through. They put one up in London and they got one in Washington, D.C. And then I think it was in 2014, they put up Kali the Destroyer in downtown New York City up on the Empire State Building. I'm just saying, these people ain't playing. The name Yah is also 7 Old Testament Hebrew names, such as the following: Jeremiah, which means Yah will rise. Yeshiah, right? Isaiah, Yeshiyahu, which means Yah has saved. Obadiah, which means serving Yah. Elijah, which means Yah is my Elohim. Nehemiah, which is Nehemiah, which means Yah comforted. That just goes on and on and on. But this is why they changed the name and put a compound on the end of it, because it takes the meaning away. But when you say it out of what it's really, what the real name is, right? Obadiah, what you're saying is it means he's serving Yah. It's real easy, y'all. This is not a hard thing at all. But anyway, we're gonna keep rolling. Now, this is what happened. I mean, this is about this. I got 2 more slides and we done. Now, these are all in the Psalms, just in case if you want to screenshot it and go look at it. Psalms 5 and 11 means the name refuge and safety from using the name. 7 and 17, thanks for his righteousness. Right? 8, 1 and 9, his name is majestic. Will not forsake those trusting in his name. We should boast in his name. We should tell his name to our brethren. Give thanks to his name. Overcome our enemies through his name. Should not forget his name. You don't want to use his name and you want to use these other names that you know I showed you his deity. Well, it is what it is. But some of y'all gonna say, I don't believe that. And then do your thing, baby. But at the same time, again, going back to Malachi 2 and 2, if you would not hear it, if you would not lay the heart to give glory to my name, says Yahuah Elohim host, I will even send a curse upon you. I will curse your blessings. Yeah, I have cursed them already because you do not lay it to heart. So you see, you lead in abortions, right? We're going to talk about crime statistics, and you talking about the police killing you, right? Okay, blacks killed by blacks is at 97%. And y'all know this is true. I don't care what city in America or in London you in, or wherever you at. Wherever the slave ship dropped you off, you got the same problem, right? Then look at here. I mean, fire is murder is 7 more times likely than anybody else to put this to happen to you. Sexual assault, 3.5 times more. Drug crimes, 12 times more. That's half of the stuff that's going on. People getting shot in the street is about drugs anyway. In every state, African Americans are more likely than whites to be exposed to homelessness. It's all there. It's all here, even with abortion. I mean, they using your baby for stem cell research. It's all here. But you don't want to hear that? It's up to you. I done showed it to you. I done proved it to you. I can go even further, but then we got to move on. So with that, I'm going to say, let me hit this here. That's going to be it for today. I'm going to put another class up here for y'all to get down on, because I'm going to finish that part 4 of Torah verse grace. So in the meantime, do your research, see if I'm lying to you. But if you see that you find this to be true, don't have to make a change about it. Sorry, that's how it is. But if you don't want to do that, that's cool too. That's between you and the Father. So, as I get ready to go, I ask Yahuah, please watch over everyone that came up here on this lesson. Please open their mind and their eyes and their ears so that they can understand by the Ruach HaKodesh. I'm just a servant. I want to be a good servant. I want them to be good servants. And I want them to understand who you are and what is necessary for us to act like we love you and show you that we love you. So we praise your name. We magnify the name of Yahuah and everything else that's attached with it. We ask these things in Yahusha's name. We pray. All right, y'all. May Yah's face shine on you. Shalom. Shalom.